What is going on, my Super Sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and obviously this is not a live commentary.
You just invented a word.
It's a new word. We're going to use the commentary. This is not a live commentary. This is actually just post-commentary. You just see random gameplay in the background from online matches with various people. And today I have Jada and Tasik here, so we can kind of discuss something that needs to be talked about in regards to the Xenoverse 2 community. Now, the Xenoverse 1 had a big flaw, and that was the fact that there was a severe unbalance online, and because of that, it led to just online mode not being that much fun. And pretty much after the last DLC came out in Xenoverse 1, the playtime or the amount of people who were playing the game just plummeted because people just completely stopped. Like, people stopped fighting online just because they didn't want to go up against custom characters and stuff like that. There was a huge unbalance. I mean, it got to the point where if you wanted to play as a character like Goku, Frieza, or whoever, and you come across a custom character, you lost 100% of the time. Like, 3 hits, you're dead. That was a big flaw with Xenoverse 1. Now with Xenoverse 2, what they did is they added a bunch of new options that allow you to kind of balance everything out, so it's not as unfair. Is unfair the right word, Danny? Unfair?
Yeah, because if you sync everybody up and make all of the stuff as even as possible, technically, it should be as fair as possible.
Yeah, and with the whole limitation options, the idea is to be all skill-based. However, when it comes down to things like this, there's always ways that stuff can be abused. And one of the most newest and cheesiest way to abuse the rank world of Xenoverse 2, the first one originally was, playing as a Namekian. When the first week of Xenoverse 2 happened, pretty much all the Namekians dominated rank. Because all you have to do is transform, you beat someone down, when your transformation ends, you hold Super Guard until your stamina comes back, and you do it all over again. It was pretty much annoying. To those who played the first week of Xenoverse 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, fortunately for us, they did fix that. The Namekians received a pretty big nerf, and because of that, you can no longer be cheesy with the Namekian race and a giant transformation in rank.
By the way, huge shout out to Bondi. They were swift with it. We gotta appreciate that.
Very swift.
Gotta appreciate that with the Swift update.
Yeah. But that didn't completely balance out everything. I mean, it fixed that, but there's always, like I said, ways that players will come around and create cheesy tactics. Because you guys gotta remember, when they made this game, when Divs was working on it, they never thought, you know what, how can players abuse this? They built this game in a way where the average casual player will pick it up and have fun, whereas you got like the higher level players who can find the cheesiest ways to win and get like those death combos and just basically do it over and over again. Right now, the most annoying one is, people are going around using the God Destruction Anger, where they shoot you once, and it basically, your stamina's high, it's a heavy stamina break, so you can't move, and you just sit there, and when you recover, they do it again. And they do this over and over and over again until you win. Until they win. It's annoying. Now, obviously, that's going to get patched. Bandai is aware of it. Dims is going to probably release a patch sometime in the future. I don't know how long it's going to take, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that they also need to implement as well in terms of balancing out. But the point is, there's always going to be a issue when it comes down to like players finding cheap tactics online, and while a tactic is discovered, it's going to spread like wildfire, and during those couple of weeks that it takes to patch it and fix it, ranked won't be that much fun. So the idea that I came up with yesterday is basically an idea that any competitive game essentially does. It's funny because I was actually inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is something I haven't played in a very, very long time. But to those who play Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're already aware that they have what's called a ban list. And basically what that means is if you go into a tournament setting, you can't use certain cards because obviously they're BS. Now, if you want to fight friends, like, hey, Danny, I challenge you to duel, we have our own house rules. So we can do whatever rules we want to do. But if I try to play these cards in a banned setting, they don't work because you're not allowed to use them. So the idea that I came up with is Ranked should actually implement a banned option that says certain things are not allowed to be used. So you can't be cheesy using Absolute Zero, you can't do God Destruction Anger, you can't use, maybe even Dragon Bird, whatever. Now the question, of course, is, well, what counts as busted? Because the first thing that happened is I made a post on the DBXV subreddit, and I was like, what do you guys think about this ban list? A lot of people agreed, but one person was like, well, what about, patching, or not patching, but banning something like transformations? Well, transformations aren't necessarily broken. They add an advantage because they're supposed to add an advantage, but they don't actually make it to the point where it's unplayable. What I mean by what should be added to a ban list is stuff that's completely cheesy. Absolute
literally
zero.
Unblockable infinite combos.
Yes, absolute zero. So, like I said, what people do is, here's a good example. People will bust out Absolute Zero, and you guys already know, just like in the last game, once you're frozen, you can't snap vanish out of it, you can't evade out of it, you're stuck. And this allows your opponent to do whatever the hell they want. A lot of people, what they do online on Ranked is they'll bust out that, Absolute Zero Link, where if they do have to pull it off on you, which, it still takes a little bit of skill to pull that off, but even if they do pull it off on you, that's it. It's game over. So example of the infamous one that's going on right now is people pull out the Absolute Zero, you get frozen, and then they bust out either a high stamina break or they bust out the God Destruction Anger, and then that's it. For the next minute, that's all that's happening, is because when you get the heavy stamina break, you can't move at all. Even after you recovered, you have a quick second to, not move before they implement the attack or bust out the attack again.
Absolutely crazy.
It's insane. So the idea is with the ban list, it would not have every single move out there. What it would have is only those certain moves, and we, the community, would control what these moves are. I'm pretty sure we can, relay information to Bandai like on a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis. Like, hey, no more Absolute Zero, no more Dragon Bird. Although Dragon Bird is a questionable one because you can snap vanish out of it after you're frozen, but Absolute Zero, you can't. You're stuck. Once you get frozen, it's a free hit, it's a free combo, it's a free whatever. Another one that's been going around is, oh my gosh, I hate this one so much, is the Go-Go Gum and then the bullets that Super 17 or Mega Shenron do. So what happens now is when you use Go-Go Gum, you wrap your opponent in that, gooey gum that we saw in Dragon Ball, and then you get up close to them and you fire an attack. That's a whole health bar. You do that twice, you win.
Which is crazy, so again, because you should have no two normal attacks, like, that aren't ultimate attacks that are doing, a bar of damage. That's just insane.
Exactly. And like the first question that you might have to those watching this videos is, well, why don't they just patch it? Well, again, patching takes time. To add a list to a ban, add a move to a ban list will literally take seconds. Like, yo, we hit up Bandai. Hey, Bandai, this move is busted. Add to the ban list. Done. Ta-da. And then they can spend their time patching and figure out how to make it more balanced so it's not as annoying in player matches. But like, having a ban list would be more proper and it would be more immediate as opposed to having to wait weeks and weeks and weeks for the next patch. Because like I said, the last patch came out like on November 2nd, I think it was, and that addressed obviously the giant Namekians. It addressed a bunch of other things that were an issue online. But now we're still waiting for the next patch, and like in between it's gonna be annoying. Like I said, I have not gone ranked in the past week just because, again, the new meta that's been going around is that stupid anger, God Destruction Anger loop, as well as using Absolute Zero and things like whatever like that needs to stop. So like,
what's crazy to me too is that like part of it is on us. Like part of it is on us as a community playing the game to like have fun, because obviously there's going to be people out there who are just, I don't know, trolls or whatever. They're going to be doing this, but the thing is that there are people at the top of the ranked list who they aren't actually good at the game. They're just using cheap tactics, and then other people. I don't want to
say they're all not good, because there's a lot of good players.
Okay, some of them are good,
but yeah,
not the whole. No, I'm not saying the whole list. I'm saying there are some people at the top of the rank list that are there because they're only using cheap tactics. So like, it's also partially on us to, I don't know, not do that. To not, I guess I don't see what the fun would be in using an infinite loop of God of Destruction's Anger over and over and over again. Like, you're not, I don't know, that just wouldn't be fun for me. So I feel like until we get this ban list, or until we get something, or until we get nerfs or whatever, get moves taken out of the game, such and such, yada yada yada, we just need to like band together and decide not to use those tactics when we're fighting in ranked. Because I mean, people there's always going to be some people that are going to take advantage of it, but I feel like other people start doing it just because they had it done to them, and so then they're mad, and so then they start using those tactics because they feel like it's the only way that they're going to win, and then it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs until it's where it was in Xenoverse 1, and literally everyone that you fight on ranked has the exact same build, and it just becomes like this cesspool of like no variety whatsoever. So I mean, like, part of it, like, yes, we do need to implement other stuff, we need to fix some moves, we need to have something in place, but we also need to, like, as a majority, try to push for more, like, I don't know, like, we want it to be competitive, but we also want it to be fun. Like, we don't want it to be like this lame, everyone uses the same character, everyone uses the same moves, everyone uses the same builds, because there's no, like, that's no fun. Everyone's gonna stop playing.
Yeah, I mean, again, let's not forget, Xenoverse 1 was plagued with Absolute Zero and Super Drain. I mean, think about this. The way it works is you get frozen with Absolute Zero, then you just do Super Drain, and then do it over and over again. Now, obviously, Super Drain now has gotten to a point where it gives you very little stamina back, so you can't spam it like you could in Xenoverse 1, but like, that ran rampant online, and that ruined online. Like, there are players who legit thought they were good because they were doing that. It's like, that doesn't make you a good player, that makes you cheap. Now, personally, like I said, me, Danny, and a lot of us, a lot of players in the community, we don't want to resort to using cheap tactics to win because, again, that's not fun. But still, you're always going to have those players who feel like it's necessary that they have to use cheap tactics to win for whatever reason, and we will never be able to control that, ever. And like I said, while we're waiting for these patches to be released in between, the best solution I can think about is to add this ban list that works in ranked. On top of that, to those who want to do player matches, there should also be an option added that allows you to have the ban list on or off as well. So if you want to have fun with your friends and still use Go Gum, you can. But if you want to have like the more competitive matches amongst your friends, then you can add the ban list active. And of course, when you go in ranked, you don't have to worry about any BS. It's all skill. And like I know Xenoverse and Dragon Ball games in general aren't meant to be that competitive, but honestly, they can. They can if it's done right. And I don't know. I just kind of want to put this video together to see what the community thinks. Like I said, I already posted on the subreddit, and I saw a lot of responses already. I saw a lot of people tweet about it as well, that they're in favor of it. So what do you guys think? In the comment section below, I want you to explain whether or not you think a ban list is a good option for ranked.
And hold on, so just one more point about this as well, everyone who is listening out there. We also need to be very careful that we limit this to things that we truly feel are broken. They're either impossible to avoid, they are infinite combos that you cannot get out of. They do what we have to. If you lose one time to a move, the move is not overpowered. You might be annoyed by it or such and such, yada yada yada. But if you lose a couple of times to one move, that doesn't necessarily make it broken or overpowered. So before you start commenting and throwing shade at some of these characters or moves or whatever, etc., just make sure that you put a lot of thought into it and consider have you tried to get better to avoid these attacks? Have you gone into training mode? Have you asked your friends to help you? Have you watched maybe some YouTube tutorials or whatever? Just make sure you put thought behind it and don't just start listing off moves that you think are overpowered just because you don't like the move. Because it is a huge difference.
And one last thing I was also going to toss out there is when a move is banned, the character isn't banned either. Because playing as Whis and using the Paleo Destruction is not as easy to pull off than when you're using custom created character that uses the Beerus Anger and Absolute Zero. You can still play as Ice Sharon if you want, but what makes it abusive is when you create that character that has all the abusive moves at once that link together really well. That's what we're talking about. And again, having infinite loops where someone does, God Destruction Anger that was triggered because you got frozen in Absolute Zero where you can't do nothing, that should be banned. But things like Kamehameha should be banned? No, it should not be banned. Or certain attacks like Danny just said, just because you lost a certain attack, it should not be banned. But what should be banned is when something is absolutely abusable, absolutely busted, or absolutely unplayable, and that's what we're talking about. And again, that list is what's going to be tough to come up with. But for now, like I said, the suggestions that I have is it should start off with Dragon Burn, it should have Absolute Zero, Go-Go Gum, God Destruction Anger, and Dodoria Headbutt. I would start with those attacks first. But if you have any suggestions of what attacks you think should be banned, comment them down below and say why as well. And again, don't think about attacks that you think are broken just because you don't know how to beat them. Like I said, somebody said, oh, transformations should be busted because the Flying Nemesis is invincible. Yeah, well, you can also stop a Flying Nemesis by just grabbing it, and therefore, you're done. It's really easy to stop that. Or the Golden Race is busted because they do X, Y, and Z. It's well, no, Golden Race does get a boost when they transform, but it's not to the point where it's game-breaking. What's game-breaking is, like I said, God Destruction Anger over and over again being looped where you can't do anything. When you get hit by God Destruction Anger one time, you're frozen. As you can see on the screen, you are frozen, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Literally
you just gotta
nothing.
Sit there and wait.
Literally nothing.
So that's what the ban list would consist of. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you think about that, whether you agree or disagree. And I guess let's kind of discuss as a community, and then based on what we come up with, we can send that feedback over to Bandai to see what they can decide with for the future of Xenoverse 2. So yeah.
Also, this is not just one more little snippet, because I imagine that this might happen. If you assume that we are talking about anyone specific, we are not. This is a community-wide thing. So if you see someone at the top of the leaderboard, or if you run into someone doing it online, this video is not directed towards anyone. This is a community rally where we can try to come together and make the game better for us. We don't want to say that anyone is a bad player. We don't want to call anyone out. We just, as a community, we want to make the game better so that it's more fun and more enjoyable for everyone else. That's the only point of the ban list.
So let us know your thoughts down below, and let's discuss this. And if you guys don't want it, then we don't have to do it. But at the same time, we do want it. The one thing I want to do different with Xenoverse 2 than we did with Xenoverse 1 is kind of actually, as a community, decide what should be done for this game, so this game can last longer than a year, longer than 2 years, longer than whenever.
Because we're the ones that are responsible for keeping the game alive. Bandai, they can make as many updates as they want, but if the online turns sour and everyone stops playing, then that's when the game dies. If everyone keeps being a community, then the game will keep going.
Yeah, like I said, they can keep putting as many patches and nerfs as possible, but it's always going to be that one person who finds the next exploit, and then everybody uses it. and that's when it doesn't become fun. So yeah, let's avoid a Xenoverse 1 Absolute Zero Super Drain situation and make a better decision what we can do with Xenoverse 2. So comment down below your thoughts, and of course, if you're down for this idea, leave a like and all that good stuff, and let's see what the community thinks overall. So yeah, thank you for watching. Let us know, and we'll see you guys down below.
Bye.